Tiger fans, what's going on, guys? So, I know it's kind of late, but I wanted to get my thoughts in on it. So, earlier, right around this time last night, the Detroit Tigers acquired Austin Meadows from the Tampa Bay Rays for Isaac Paredes and a Comp B pick. Wow. Okay. So, legit thought this was my last video was going to be my last video until the 2022 Detroit Tigers season preview, which is going to be coming on Thursday. But boy, was I wrong. So, let's go to the precipice of all this and why the Tigers are where they're at and why they acquired Austin Meadows. So, as you all know, Riley Green has fractured his foot and he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And the Tigers gave no timetable whatsoever when Riley Green was going to return, and he was going to be a part of the team. Al Avila had come out and said that they fully expect to take care of the outfield situation in-house. They thought they had the internal options to do it. Well, Derek Hill's kind of injury-prone. Victor Reyes is a fourth outfielder, not someone that you want to see every single day out in center field. And Eric Haas is not exactly, your everyday outfielder type because, one, defensively he's not amazing, and two, you want to really platoon him between catching and playing left or a corner spot. You don't want him out there every single day because his defense is going to hurt you too bad versus what you're going to get with the stick. Valuable piece, and I have more than spoke his praise on my channel about how much I like Eric Haas. But let's be real here, guys. He's not someone that you want out in left field every single day. He's a guy that you want out there against lefties. He can hit righties a little bit, but yeah. So, with this injury, now left open a spot for center field. Riley Green was more than going to win the job out of spring camp like Spencer Torkelson did to make the opening day roster. What sucks is he got hurt one day before Spencer Torkelson was announced. He was on the squad. So Riley Green would have been announced at the same time. Well, they fractured his foot. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. Well, I think the Tigers are leaning on the latter here. If they thought that the fracture was not that bad and it was going to heal quickly, I don't think they would have went out and made a move. Avila did say were on the phones and they were looking at all options externally plus internally, but he did say that he thought they would be able to settle this internally. Well, back to my point. Derek Hill has been injury prone. If you look at his numbers in the minor leagues, even when he was up with the Tigers, he had a couple IL stints right off to get with the Tigers. Not all his fault. Like, he had that one where he hit his shoulder on the wall and, there was nothing he could do about that. He got hurt making a catch. And then he had another one where I forget who, but he ran into someone in the outfield. And I don't think it was Badu. It might have been Badu. I can't remember. But it was in Baltimore, and he got run into, and that sidelined him for a little bit. So with Hill's health, Victor Reyes is not someone that you want to be nothing more than a fourth outfielder, even if you did platoon him. You gotta watch his at-bats and how you use him, even though he is not that bad defensively. Out in center field, he gets the job done, but he's not someone that you want out there every single day in center field. Hill gets hurt. Des Cameron has yet to show he could hit the big leagues, but he is an option, but I doubt they wanted to waste the roster spot on yet another outfielder when they have Hill. They would have Hill, Reyes, Grossman, Badu, Haas. Like, that's so many freaking outfielders. They had to do something, and really only a couple of them of quality, Badu and Grossman. The rest of them are just a platoon spot filling in a merry-go-round. So basically, center field was about to become what shortstop was all of last year, where they had just a bunch of different guys. Whoever could field a ground ball at short or stay remotely healthy was their shortstop. Basically, that's what center field was going to turn into. So, I think the Tigers think that Riley Green's injury is more of the latter than the sooner, because if Riley Green's injury was not that bad and they thought it was going to heal quicker sooner rather than later, plus the time it's going to take for his rehab assignment to get back into the swing of things, get ABs underneath him, get the speed of the game back, they would have not gone out and gotten Austin Meadows. So let's talk about Austin Meadows. I remember when Austin Meadows was drafted. He was a first-round pick by the Pirates. Austin Meadows was supposed to be a part of that next great Pirates wave. In the mid-2000 teens, for those of you who don't remember or who are newer-ish baseball fans of the last few years, in the mid-2000 teens, the Pittsburgh Pirates were a special squad. they had Andrew McCutcheon in his peak. They had that Shark Tank bullpen, I think is what they called it, the Shark Tank, when they had guys like Mark Melancon and Jason Grilly. They were really, really good. They had some really good pitching. They had guys like Jeff Locke, which was really weird because Jeff Locke had like an all-star year, and he just was like disappeared out of nowhere. They had A.J. Burnett. They had Francisco Liriano. So they had some really, really good pitching. They had a great bullpen. They had Josh Harrison when Josh Harrison was still really good. They had Jordy Mercer. They had Neil Walker. Josh Bell was supposed to be like the next big thing. Gregory Polanco was supposed to come up and be the next big thing. And they had Garrett Cole and Jamison Tyon. They were supposed to be the dominant two-headed force that was supposed to be like this amazing thing. They had guys like Pedro Alvarez. They had Russell Martin. They had a really, really good team. And Austin Meadows was supposed to come up and be a part of this next wave along with like Josh Bell and Gregory Polanco. And they were supposed to be the next, and Garrett Cole and Jamison Tyon. And they were supposed to be the next wave of Pirates to keep them competitive. Because the Pirates had some bad luck. They were like a high 90s win team for a couple years, but they were always in the wild card game. Which is they had that one really famous game, the Johnny Cueto game, where Johnny Cueto dropped the ball on the mound when everyone was on Cueto. So Austin Meadows ended up getting dealt when the Pirates were a fringe team. They traded him to the Tampa Bay Rays with I know his freaking name because he's on the Chris Rose rotation. It'll come to me here in a second, but he got traded to Tampa Bay with that pitcher who's super freaking tall. I literally listen to Chris Rose rotation all the time. It doesn't matter. You guys know who I'm talking about. He had Tommy John surgery after he got hurt, and he got traded to the Tampa Bay Rays with him apart for Chris Archer. And I think there was one other guy in that trade as well, and I can't remember who the third guy was. Neither here nor there. So Meadows comes over, and he has a freaking absolutely awesome, extremely good 2019. Like, this dude came out and had like a near MVP season. I think he finished top 10 of the MVP. He was really good. Like, he was better than Mike Trout the first couple months of the 2019 season. But then in 2020, he came out and he struggled really bad. I guess he had a little bit of injury issues, and he struck out. His strikeout rate absolutely flew up compared to his 2019 season. And 2021 comes, and he kind of found his water, and he was much better. Now, he only hit in the 230s compared to 2019 when he hit 291. His on-base percentage really fell from 2019 to 2021. Like, last year, he was 317. In his 2019 year, he was like a 360 on-base guy. His OPS went from Tyler Glasnow. I knew I was gonna freaking remember it. Tyler Glasnow was another one that was supposed to be a part of that. Tyone, Garrett Cole, and him were supposed to be the big one. Glasnow, Tyone, and Cole. Glasnow is the same. I don't know why I couldn't freaking remember his damn name. So Glasnow and Meadows were the most ones traded. Anyways, neither here nor there. So 2020, when he comes back, ends up hitting 27 home runs, 106 RBIs, and he was mainly used as a left fielder / DH. His outfield, his glove in the outfield isn't really anything special from what I've heard. I haven't looked up the defensive metrics, but I've listened to a lot of people talk about him. People familiar with the Tampa Bay Rays more than I am. So he's not much with the glove. So he DHs some, and he plays like a kind of platoon spot in the outfield. But the bat sticks. For him to have the year he had in 2019, which was an all-star, damn near top 10 MVP finish. You know, he struggled mightily in the 2020 season, but you kind of got to be like, and write that off because of, it was a 2020 COVID year, it was a weird season, only 60 games. And then for him to come back last year, play 143 games, I would look at his 2019, which is a complete season, plus his last year, which is a complete season, take the two and average it, and that's the kind of player you got. So you got a guy there that's going to hit potentially 25 to 28 home runs. You got a guy that's going to get on base at exactly league average clip. You have a guy that his OPS plus is 17% better than the league average. So I think his OPS plus his 2019 year, if I can remember his statistics right, was like 136. Last year was 117. So you're looking at a guy who's 20% better than league average. You're looking at a guy that absolutely destroys right-handers, doesn't hit left-handers nearly as well, but absolutely destroys right-handers. Luckily for us, the league is predominantly right-handed pitching. You look at our in division, most of the best pitchers in our division are all right-handed pitchers. So, it's a guy that his bat is going to it's going to play, it's going to play very, very well. So, and he fits the team very, very well. What I'm most blown about is the fact that this trade was almost Dave Dombrowski-esque. For everyone that sat there and talked all that crap about Avila, saying he wasn't a good GM, he's not good at building a farm system, he's not good at making trades and building a farm system through trades, he's not good at getting good talent to add to the team. The last 2 years the people just need to stop. Because now, all this talent, and that was the biggest thing for Avila's first 5 years. Everyone would say, well, all these players that he drafted that, weren't impact players, and no one that he's gotten in any, like the JD Martinez trade, Justin Upton trade, all those dudes, none of these guys have been impact players. He doesn't have any players that he drafted that have been everyday regulars. Okay, so now, players Avila drafted that are going to be impact players to the team. Casey Mize, Tara Skubal, Matt Manning. Those three have already been impactful players to the Tigers, especially Skubal and Mize. Spencer Torkelson is now an everyday regular, and he's going to be an impact bat for the team. Eventually, Riley Green will be an everyday regular and be an impact bat to the team. And he took Isaac Paredes, a player that he got in a trade for his kid with Justin Wilson and Jeimer Candelario. So he took Isaac Paredes, a guy who didn't have a single spot in the Tigers team because he was a third baseman / second baseman. He originally came up with the Cubs as a shortstop, but he wasn't going to play there. So he took him, a guy that had no position on the Tigers, has already shown that he really can't hit big league pitching. Every single year, this was Isaac Paredes' year. Goes to the Mexican League. He wins a batting title in the Mexican League, goes to AAA, hits 340, comes up into the big leagues, and hits 220. That's all he's been his entire career so far. Now, he's very young, but I don't think trading Isaac Paredes is going to be like when the Tigers got David Price from the Tampa Bay Rays, when they traded Austin Jackson and Drew Smyly and Willie Adames, and I think one other player. So they traded Adames and Smyly to the Rays, and we got Price, and Austin Jackson went, I want to say, to Seattle, if I can remember correctly. And I don't remember what Seattle got in that trade, but it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. When they traded Adames ended up turning into being a really good player. And, he's had a couple really good years with Tampa. He never really was what they wanted him to be, but Adames said, he's like, hey, I can't really hit at the trop. And they traded him to Milwaukee, and he was an absolute spark plug for Milwaukee, and he's going to be their starting guy. And he could have an all-star year this year, being, in a park he can actually see the ball in. That was his biggest thing. But I don't think Isaac Paredes is that kind of guy that's going to come back and you're going to be like, damn, well, he outperformed Meadows and he's only 23 and he turned into like a Willie Adames-esque kind of thing. And I don't think that's the upside for Paredes. I think at this point, if the Tampa Bay Rays can make him hit enough to where he is a rotational infielder of, an extra second / third baseman that they could plug in there, because that's what they do in Tampa. They do a bunch of platoons. Okay, fine. It is what it is, but I don't think he's ever going to be like as good as Willie Adames is, where he could be potentially an all-star, because Paredes, he doesn't really have any kind of pop. He's never really hit a lot of home runs, even in the minor leagues. His biggest thing was, his calling card was the fact that he was such a good contact hitter and was able to put bat on ball all the time, and he didn't really strike out much. But to this point in his career, through the opportunities given, he's never really shown the ability to consistently hit big league pitching or hit big league pitching. Every single time he's come up, besides, I thought last year that he looked a little bit better at the plate, like he wasn't so overmatched, but he looked overmatched. So the fact that they got Meadows for Isaac Paredes, a guy that had no spot on the Tigers team because they still have Cody Clemens, they still have Ryan Kreidler, who I really, really like. They got Meadows for Paredes in a comp pick. Like, are you kidding me? You know how many teams in the MLB right now are thinking, okay, they got a guy who is just 2 years removed from being an all-star, who's just 2 years removed from a top 10 MVP finish, who just last year still got on pace at almost a league average clip and hit 27 home runs and was over 17% better than league average. That, and for a guy that has yet to ever even show he can stick in the big leagues. And I mean, you get the comp pick, and that comp pick could be Babe Ruth. You don't know. But, the likelihoods of that happening is the same likelihoods of me going and getting a scratch off and winning $1 million. It's very unlikely. So the fact that they traded what they traded to get that caliber of a player is outstanding. And what really shows, and you guys should realize as Tiger fans is watching this, that it shows that Al Avila is not screwing around. That they know something that we don't, that Green's injury is worse than we think it is. And it's probably going to be the latter of the 6 to 8 weeks. We probably won't see him till June. And they didn't want to sit there and mess around and risk another 9-23 start, because you can't win a division in April, but you can damn well lose it. And the Tigers did lose it in April last year. When you're 9-23 to start the season, they played well over 500 ball the rest of the way through. Got within 2 games of 500, but never could scratch and claw their way even to that 500 point or get even close to being at that spot, because they'd won like 7 in a row and then they'd lose 4, and you'd be almost right back where you're at, gaining no ground. And in this division, where the White Sox are so much better than everyone, even with the White Sox adversity that they're having, where with the Lance Lynn injury and Garrett Crochet having Tommy John and all that other stuff, they're still so much better than the Tigers that the Tigers still really don't pose a threat. Now, I don't want to get too much in this, because with my brother, we're going to make our season preview about where I think their win-loss is, but the Tigers still aren't better than them. But this at least gives you an opportunity to where, one, it gives you another quality at bat for the middle of the order that's a proven power guy that, is going to go and hit righties well and get on base at a decent enough clip. 2, you don't have to sit here and play this merry-go-round of center fielders like you had to with shortstop all last year, where you're trying everyone and anyone at shortstop. And 3, when Riley Green does return, it's going to push someone out that, it's going to make these guys have to play and have to earn a spot, because Green is the starting center fielder when he comes back, and they already said that. So whether that means it's Sanderek Haas, who knows how long Victor Reyes makes it on the roster, whether that means it's the end of Derek Hill getting a look here in Detroit, they DFA him, or he's going to be forever in Toledo, who knows. But when you have another bat like Meadows, to where now when Green comes back, you're going to have Green, Meadows, Baddoo, Grossman. That's your 4 outfielders. That is a hell of a bunch out there, especially with the way Robbie, can hit some homers and steal some bases and provide you a really good at bat every single time he get on base at a good clip. He walks really a lot. And then Baddoo hit another home run in spring today. So he's just been absolutely looking like a dialed-in version of himself. Because like I said, last year he struggled a little bit, but he had a lot of ups, and he started coming out of it at the end of the season. Like, he had a lot of ups and downs, but what do you expect from a guy that never played above A-ball? And this season, like, you could definitely tell having a big league season under his belt has made him, I'm very excited to see what he's going to do. And then you add Meadows, where you add like another 20 home run bat on this team. This is going to be the best hitting team that the Tigers have had since 2016. Back when Miggy still had a little bit more legs and could hit 20-something bombs, and you had Justin Upton on the squad, and he could still hit, was really good and could still hit some homers, and Yoenis Cespedes and all that. Well, Yoenis Cespedes was 2015, excuse me, but you had like guys like Upton and Miggy and whatnot, could still hit. Now you have Haas is capable of hitting 20. Meadows is more than capable of hitting 20. Torkelson's more than capable of hitting 20. Baez is way more than capable of hitting 20. And then you look at Jeimer Candelario, who, a couple of them doubles maybe this year turns into a couple of more home runs because the guy's double machines. He could potentially hit 20. So, this team has some pop, and for the first time in a minute, the Tigers actually have a lineup that's like actually some guys. It's not just like, who the hell is playing in right field today, and he's going to be off the team in 2 months because the Tigers took a flyer on him. Nomar Mazara. It's not that right now. They actually have some guys. And the price they paid to get him was literally nothing. So what's crazy is the position they put themselves in and the ability to get who they got for what they got him for. So I am absolutely ecstatic at the trade, and Avila should be applauded for being able to get something like this done. To want to win that bad and knowing your in-house options, the center field could be a total merry-go-round. He did a damn good job at getting a temporary replacement for Riley Green. And when Riley Green comes back, it just makes this lineup that much stronger. So we need to have some realistic expectations. This lineup is going to have a bunch of strikeouts, but it's going to have some serious power in it, for the first time in a minute. And it's going to be fun, but more of that's going to come when I do my season preview video here on Thursday and with my brother, so I don't want to get too far into that. But the Detroit Tigers acquire Austin Meadows from the Tampa Bay Rays for Isaac Paredes and a Comp B pick. What a great pickup. What a great move for the Tigers. They absolutely fleeced the Rays on this one, and I'm really excited to see what Meadows can do at Comerica Park this year. So that's all I got for you guys today. I will be back. Finally, 2022 spring training, or 2022 season preview. We're going to get this going. Season starts Friday. Let's do this. Have a good one, guys. Go Tigers.